evening, everyone. Can you guys hear me back there? Yay? Okay. I feel really far away over it. Nice. So we've already had executive session for the board office, and we scooted the flag there. So we're going to call this public session to order at this point. I'm going to have a roll call.
Mr. Curran? Mrs. Martin? Mrs. Brown? Mrs. Ted? Mrs. White?
Here. Here. The next thing on the agenda is the statement of public notice. I just want to draw your attention to it. You can read it at your leisure during the meeting, but it basically says that we won't be put from the public. There are 2 times when the public come up to get put to the board. The first is on agenda items, when you come up and speak on anything that's listed on the agenda, any topic. And the second public comment is later in the meeting, and that's for any item that you'd like to come up and talk about. When you do come up, please sign your name and address on the clipboard and tell us your name and address when you come up to the microphone, please. The other thing that's of note is that the meeting is being recorded. I just want to say before we do the student representative report that I hope everyone has power. I know there's still some people that don't. And I just want to thank the staff, and specifically Nick and Rob, for the crazy amount of work that they've been doing in the last week trying to communicate with everyone, find out what roads are closed, driving around with this truck looking at closed roads and wires and stuff. It's been quite an interesting week. So I hope everyone is getting back to normal, and if anyone doesn't have power, I'm sorry. And I hope it comes on really soon. I know some other towns have more people out than we do at this point. I know some of our staff still doesn't have power who live in other towns. According to what Nathan's told me today. So anyway, I just wanted to say that. We're up to the student representative, RJ. Whatever. Any other questions?
I don't have any questions, but I just have a plug with a walkout. If the track is really in bad shape and covered in lots of snow, I think it'd be a great alternative to consider staying inside and using the gymnasium. I feel a lot better knowing that you guys are inside. It'd be one less thing for me to have to work out. So I know you're working on it. I know you're involved in plans. So to the extent you might have some influence there, I think it'd be great if you guys took advantage of the new gym and the bleachers and the PA system there. So just a thought.
At this point, the board is going to go down below because of the student recognitions. Down there.
Okay, so thanks everybody for coming tonight. You might have noticed that we have some very nicely dressed, handsome young men lined up in the back of the room this evening. And if you follow along on the agenda a little bit, you'll know that we have an opportunity to recognize some of our students for their accomplishment in basketball. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Rita Zaravera to come up and talk about the program, the team, and the coaching staff.
We're very happy to say that the women boys basketball team won the Central Jersey Junior Schools Athletic Association League Championship this year. And they were coached by Frank Nicasio. I'm going to invite Frank to come up and say a few words. While he's coming up, I'm going to tell you that this is the third time that Coach Nicasio has won the league championship for us. This is our 12th year of sports at William Manning, and he won it the first year that we started, 12 years ago, and he won it 2 years after that, in 2009, and now returns again now to another championship in 2018. So, congratulations.
It was a very successful season in which we went 15-1 in the regular season, 3-0 in the postseason. Our only loss was at Franklin Middle School on a buzzer beater 3-point shot during the regular season. We did avenge our loss, however, in the finals against the same Franklin team when we beat them 49-45 in our league championship. Coach Brad Whitman and myself, Coach Brad is a senior at Rich High School. We are both very, very proud of the boys and everything they worked hard for this season. They are a great group of boys on and off the court. Also want to thank Christian Edwards and Ryan Omundo for keeping stats all season. They were very, very integral in keeping stats for us all year. A special thank you to our athletic coordinator, Rita Zaravera, for giving me the opportunity to coach the boys team once again at Williams. Also a special thank you to the parents for the support, as well as my wife. Without further ado, I'm going to talk to the boys one at a time to come and receive their certificate. We will not have a board. First up, Arnav Arnu. Brett Astrid. James Beatty. Dylan D'Addario. Chris Dom. Fabio. Will Hubert. New to the district, Jane Hilton. Zio Kim. Nick Posada. Sean McCluskey. Lebo. And our two captains this season, Gavin Kreitz. Russell Tam. And our last captain, Colin Martin. These are your 2017-2018 Wayne's Boys basketball team.
She's got it under control.
All right, congratulations, guys. Great job. Okay, so moving right along in our agenda, really, before we do, I think it's probably already moved on, but I just wanted to let you guys know our Van Teo athletic wonderful, and I really appreciate her leadership. She's a really wonderful caretaker for our middle school athletes. So thank you to Rita and Frank for coming out tonight. Thanks again, Frank. Okay, so the next item in our agenda is a report on our class size. This is basically something that we take a look at each year as we think about getting our budget ready. We've been doing a lot of work, obviously, over the course of the winter, putting a budget together, and we're starting to get to the point where we are able to present a budget to the board in 2 weeks. That will be our draft budget presented to the state. And then in May, we do our formal hearing on the budget. And in light of that, we'd like to kind of take a look at how we are currently set up, because the class size is a nice way of getting a snapshot picture of how staff are used, and it can help formulate some discussion as you finalize your budget, think about staff. So with that said, I'm going to work through this. Starting with our hosts. Thanks for hosting tonight, all. Great setup, by the way. You guys did a nice job. Thank you, Chris. So, Cedar Hill School, current year, and the way that this is set up is on the left side, you sort of see a snapshot of the students at each grade level and the number of regular classroom sections that we have, and approximate class sizes resulting from those sections, taking the second column, dividing it by the third and the fourth. And then anticipated is in the last 3 columns. And of course, this is subject to change. Obviously, this is a snapshot in time, and we're not really sure exactly where, for example, kindergarten enrollment is going to fall. I believe just last week on Tuesday, the one day that we did manage to get in last week, we had kindergarten enrollment. So that started. Obviously, that number will change. It's not 74 right now for 18-19, but we estimate that it will be somewhere in that ballpark by the time school opens. One of the things that I wanted to just make mention of here as we go through these slides is that you will see some variance between the numbers in these slides and the numbers that you might review if you look at Dr. Cripp's report when we did the demographic study. And obviously, that's a function of time, snapshot of time. Right now, where are we with our students? It's different than where we were when Dr. Cripp presented. So there's some minor fluctuations. But all in all, I kind of reconciled a little bit between the way Dr. Cripp presented his numbers and the way that these numbers are presented. So you should see them pretty much in alignment, but there will be some variations. As minor as they are. So in addition to the general education mainstream classroom setting in the elementary schools, we also have special education programs throughout the different grade levels. And one of the things I just want to mention in this, there was a little bit of a point of confusion when we worked on this last year, is that in the third column there where we're representing the number of students, it's a little bit confusing because the number of students is really kind of double counting as you go down the column depending on the needs of the student. So in some cases, a student might be in a resource room setting for part of the day, and might be in an ICS setting for part of the day, and therefore they can be counted more than once, which is what the asterisk is there to remind you of. So I set up the slides in the same pattern, going forward with each of the other 3 elementary schools. Obviously, in this case, we're talking about Liberty Corner School. They have, pretty consistent class sizes across all of the buildings in terms of taking the second column divided by the third to yield that class size. And where you see the slash is obviously just because we don't have partial students, and when you divide it, doesn't come out to a whole number in some cases. For example, in the second row, 90 divided by 5 is 18. Okay, right? So there, of course, we can put 18 in other cases if it comes out as a decimal. Some classes might have 21, some classes might have 22 in order to keep the students as whole units, which is a good thing. Okay. This is the same as Cedar Hill with respect to some of the special services that are at play at Liberty Corner School. And then we have Mount Prospect School. One of the things that's unique to Mount Prospect School that I didn't reflect here is the preschool programs. All the preschool programs are at the Mount Prospect School. And you know, one of the things that you see kind of bearing itself out as you look at some of these slides is how the enrollment is starting to really show itself as declining at the kindergarten level. And it really jumps out at you at Mount Prospect School. And if you were here for the demographer's report, that was one of the things he talked about, right? The fact that the district was starting to see some declining enrollment, and we really have seen it the last few years. Next year is not the first year that we're seeing it. We're really into like year 3, 4 of seeing the elementary enrollment numbers starting to go down with the incoming kindergarten classes, and obviously as those classes age up, you're going to see some larger classes in the 4th and 5th grade move on to add and smaller classes coming up. There are the Mount Prospect Special Services programs, organized by grade level. You see some of the preschool programs noted there, I mentioned that before. And finally, Oak Street School. Again, Oak Street, you see that trend where for a few years, especially when you get into the right-hand slide, the right-hand half of the slide, we look at 18-19, you see that 3 years running, that shift that's different than the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade in 18-19 compared to the kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd grade for 18-19. And that's the pattern that has been predicted that we've been seeing coming to play here. Okay, and then, of course, Oak Street School has special services programs as well. At the 6-12 level, Ridge and Annan, before we go into some of the breakouts, I thought it was kind of nice to just look at the core areas and see that the class sizes are, on average, really zooming out, taking all of the classes together and averaging things out, just to sort of get a big picture look. We'll drill down into some of the more specific areas, but that's written in and across the core subject areas that the students take. Okay, so we'll start with William Annan, drilling down just into Annan. By grade level, those core subjects look like this. And pretty consistent across the board. You're going to see that because the classes of students really kind of from 4th and 5th grade through the high school are pretty even. That change is happening in the early elementary. But the class size in core math at William Annan I broke out separately because of the fact that math is the one area and that there are some different levels that happen. You can see there's a couple different 7th grade classes, there's 3 different 8th grade classes, that's why that's on a different stuff. Okay. Getting into some of the electives at William Annan, sports, band, orchestra, LPE, average world language class, 21 students, cycle classes 20, 8th grade electives where they take some semester elective classes are 19. And of course here again, please again don't be confused. What you don't want to do is add up the number of students in column 2 and think that that's how many students are in special services programs at Annan. That would be the wrong way to go about it. You have to recognize that the students are counted more than once, depending on the programs and classes that are required in their IEPs. And we have a pretty robust program in terms of in-class support, the resource room. We have Math support, language arts support, I added that to this slide, our autism program, and our modified program. Okay, so drilling into some of the details at Bridge, there are your different social studies classes, and of course, each of these classes has lots of sections. If you average the number of students in each section, that's how we're coming up with those class averages. Just taking the total number of students divided by the number of sections for each class produces these figures. Same calculation in mathematics. Those 3 seminar courses at the top are support classes. Language arts, same approach. The number of sections divided into the number of students enrolled. Science classes, pretty consistent. And that is the last one. I know it's kind of getting cut off, but it's CP, Environmental Science, at 23 bottom. World languages and arts, a bridge, business classes, fine arts classes. Tech ed generally tends to be a little bit smaller because some of the lab settings. And the health, PE, and option 2 program. So we haven't gotten into spring sports. We're doing this presentation a little bit earlier than we did it last year, so we don't have the spring sports figures yet. But this gives you a sense of the number of kids enrolled in the option 2 program and the average class size for health/PE through the first 3 marking period is 26. I'm not sure what it will be yet for the 4th marking period, but I anticipate it will be about the same. Of course, we have special services programs at the high school as well. That gives you a sense of where we are. So, you know, when you go through this, it's not really too glaring in what you see in the trends of the average class sizes, but you do start to see the same thing that we've seen in the last couple of years, which kind of opens up that conversation about what's going on at the elementary schools. Well, clearly, if you don't need as many sections in the 2nd grade as you did the year before, kindergarten, 1st grade, that does have an impact on the number of staff providing those programs because the students aren't there. I was impressed when I looked at this overall, having gone through all the figures, feeling good about our staff and the way that they manage their instructors relative to the student body to keep things pretty even across the board and pretty fair. Very consistent overall, I thought. Obviously, there's going to be some fluctuations that happen based on the way schedules fall, but for the most part, I think we're doing a pretty good job matching up the staff with the students. As far as staff recommendations going forward, as I mentioned at the beginning, we're still working on those aspects of the budget. Generally speaking, what we're trying to do is take a look at that staff piece class and try to match up the amount of money that we're spending on staffing from one year to the next. We're pretty consistent so that we don't have spikes in different cost centers within the budget. It's kind of our aim to keep cost centers from one year to the next and having wild swings because we just don't have the kind of change in revenue to support huge growth in one area or another. And as I mentioned, I just put it in there as a reminder. I wouldn't be surprised if you looked at this and looked at the demographer's report and saw some differences. If you do that and have questions, you can reach out to me and explain what those are. But for the most part, I thought that what our administrators worked on when I reviewed it was very close to what the demographer had for both current year and projection. Good job. Any questions for the board member?
About science averages. It's a little concerning to me to see that for chemistry and physics,
So, we actually have in our board policy two numbers. Through second grade, the suggestion is to try to keep class size no more than 22, 3, 4, 5, no more than 25. The policy specifically uses the word guideline. I think because it speaks to the issue that you raised, and you may have fluctuation during the course of the year, and you have this hard line in the sand, you're going to have people coming to you and saying, you just crossed the line, open a new section. So it is a guideline, it is going to fluctuate, and yes, I think that's true. Move-ins, special needs programs, IEPs changing, you're going to have some ins and outs in it potentially. The question was, what happened, like, where's the break point between when you open a new section and when you don't? Okay, so, as you were looking at the elementary numbers, you see, it seems like you can see that it seems like there's a maximum that you're trying to maintain, and there is, obviously, and as I was explaining, the guidelines are typically 22 K1, 2, 25 grades 3, 4, 5. There is fluctuation in that, and at some point, you're setting your schedule for the following school year, and typically that's happening June, end of June, the latest. So that was the question.
What?
Okay, off the top of my head, I can't tell you that exactly, but I do have it written in, I think. Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, right, off the top of my head, I don't know. I mean, you're looking at roughly 400 to 440 per grade. Yeah. Yeah, you're not really going to see the class sizes come down significantly after age 4. You're talking probably 5-6 years before you start to see that change. The demographer's report is posted on the website too, and it does have the projections going forward. Yeah, I'm sorry. But yeah, you're looking at, you figure 430, 440 times 4, that's probably enough. What's that? Is it loud?
Their last switch broke, so it sounds slow. So I have to turn it out.
Thank you, Mrs. Cipolla. I'll be waking up in the middle of the night hearing that noise.
There is a work order.
All right, any other questions from board members on this? All right, we'll continue thinking about this going forward as we wrap up the budget presentations in the next couple of months. So thanks for your attention.
still hear me out there? Okay. So we are now up to superintendent's report. We have 3 items to vote on. Motion, Mrs. Starner, and second, Mrs. Gray. The first is the HIU report, the second one is a new club, and the third one is a field trip. Does anyone have any questions? We'll vote on those before we get to item number 4. Does anyone have any questions on those first 3 items?
Mr. Byrne? Mrs. Smarter? Mrs. Gray? Mr. Seven? Mrs. White?
Yes.
Mrs. Richards? Mrs. Porter? Mrs. Porter?
Yes.
Mrs.
Yes.
Madam President?
Thank you. The fourth item on superintendent's report is the school security update.
Okay, so for obvious reasons, the continuing hot topic of school security. I wanted to just remind everybody something that we talked about at the last board meeting, which was just sort of this idea that school security plans aren't really very secure if they're broadcasted in public, especially in detail. So I would just ask everybody to kind of keep that in mind. We do have a public meeting being recorded here, and we do try to keep our security plans reasonably secure. That being said, there are obviously some basic procedures and protocols that we can share, and I did in fact recently send an email via the Aspen system to talk a little bit about the standard response protocol, which is certainly something that is readily accessible for anybody that wants to look it up online. So I did kind of find a summary page that I thought would be useful for parents, and I shared that out. Hopefully you received that email. Probably, no, you didn't. I see some yeses and some no's. Okay. So it was kind of a colorful parent page that talked about things like lockouts and lockdowns and those types of procedures, and gives you a little sense of some of the things that we're practicing in school. So I wanted to share that to make sure that you had some understanding of what it was that the school district was committed to. And I can also share that the Somerset County prosecutor who works with the police in our Uniform Memorandum of Understanding, which is the agreement between law enforcement and the school districts, worked with all the schools in Somerset County to align us to all using the standard response protocol, which I think is a nice thing to know, and it gives you some knowledge that we as a county are working together to train in a pretty standardized way, and that's so that regardless of where support might be needed, the law enforcement officers and the first responders can have a confident feeling about what procedures the schools are using across the county, regardless of which town they might be responding to. So I think that's a positive thing to share, and it gives you some insight that we are working on this issue collaboratively, not just within our school district and our town, but going beyond that. I mentioned when we talked about school security last time that we have an annual law enforcement conference, and that's one of the things that we kind of talk about is trying to stay together as a county. One of the other things that's going on that's new really this year is the concept that each school has to have a school safety specialist, which essentially is someone who is going to be able to help promote consistency, not only across the county, but in fact across the state. This is a new program that the state has initiated this year. It's really in its infancy phase. At some point during the school year, the board will appoint a person. We already have that person in mind in our school district. Scott Thompson, one of the assistant principals, is the district crisis team. He already knows that he will be appointed in that post as our tentative plan at this point in time. The school safety specialists are going to all be trained probably this spring or summer based on what we're being told in order to help establish that consistency in practice and protocol. So that's the second thing that's going on that I think is helpful for us. At the last board meeting, we also talked a little bit about facilities. We have, as you probably know in visiting the schools, we do have facility improvements that we have made steadily over the last several years, and we have plans to continue to do so going forward in the next budget. So we are taking the security issue very seriously. I've gotten many emails from various members of the public with a variety of suggestions and recommendations and ideas. And I want you to know that you can feel good that a lot of your ideas are on target. They're consistent with the things that we're talking about and doing, things that we've already started, things that are in progress or incomplete or underway. Some of them complete, some of them still in progress, but many of the ideas that people have emailed me individually or otherwise are things that we're also taking a serious look at. And it remains to be a top priority, one that I look forward to making progress with going forward.
Any board members? We're up to public comment on agenda items. So if you come up, please sign in your name and address on the clipboard and tell us your name and just speak up to the microphone, please.
Can you hear me? I have one question about slides presentation. I noticed that all the slides for elementary school for this year versus next year numbers, but then we got the specialized slides, aka like these current sections and how the students. I'm going to assume that's because we just started IEP meetings in March every year. I just wanted to kind of check with that. You already see that comparison? Okay, great. And then on the school security, I just wanted to ask if we might be getting an additional audit some security experts that would help you guys prioritize that list of items for upload. And I want to thank you for the email we got today about the change at Ridge High School's procedure for dropping off items. I really think it helps have less people leaving the door today because they really can do a better job of screening the visitors, so I really do appreciate that. We had a couple of meetings last week with a advocacy group for school security, and several of you attended. Thank you for that. And then I just have one question. The New Jersey Department of Education Office of School Preparedness and Emergency Planning issued a resource guidance document titled School Safety and Security Plans, Minimum Requirements, back in 2011. And one of the items in that document says, assemble a district-wide planning team, including staff, parents, representatives of law enforcement, fire, hospital, and emergency management agencies. I'm wondering if we have that team and plans are being included in this. And then I just want to thank you all. I know your volunteers and you spend so much of your time away from the families to help us with, and I really appreciate it.
tell us your name and address, please. Anyone else for public comment on agenda items? No? Okay, so we're going to close public comment at this time. We're up to committee reports. Do you want to respond to those?
So thank you for the comments and the questions. With regard to the question of the security consultant, we actually had a meeting scheduled last week. Thanks to Mr. McLaughlin, we had a security consultant scheduled to come in to meet with us. We were seeking a proposal to actually do a variety of things, inclusive of taking a look at our current security plans and our crisis manuals for each of the buildings. So that was really part of the focus that we wanted that person to make a proposal on, in addition to taking a look at the facilities and walking around and see what kinds of professional suggestions they might have facility-wise, in consultation not only with building and staff, but also the school district SLO. So that's part of the scope of what we would like someone to be able to do for us. Unfortunately, that meeting didn't happen with the weather last week, so we have to work on rescheduling them. They come to us with some recommendation around the state. Some of that's pretty good. So hopefully we'll get a proposal in and take a look at having that done. I appreciate your noticing the Ridge High School letter. You know, and talking to Mr. Kraus, he's getting to know the building. Obviously, this is his first year at Ridge, and he's working closely with Mr. Thompson, the district crisis coordinator and the building leader as well, to try to come up with some relatively simple things, like you mentioned, in terms of minimizing the number of times we go in and out of doors. The guidance document that you mentioned, I am familiar with that. I do remember that document coming out in 2011. Those documents were set up for, I really think, for the initiation of the planning phase for the school security plan. I honestly don't remember in 2011 if we had parents per se on those committees to get those plans started. Many of the staff that are on the committees are in fact parents. I don't know if they're all parents of resident students, but certainly we're more than happy to have parent feedback on what we're doing with respect to security. And then the question about the reliance on the numbers, you know, I can't really say that special services is relying on those numbers. I don't think they're really looking at it from that perspective. I'm asking for it as a superintendent to be able to report out to the public and to be able to report to the board so that I understand it and I can share it with the public. I think the focus with special services is trying to meet the needs of the individual student through the IEP, and then I'm asking for these numbers kind of.
Okay, so for finance, we have two items to vote on. To make a motion, Mrs. Gray, second, Mrs. Korn. I think they're kind of obvious, the professional development expense, and then there's an addendum with the second one on it, which is a anyone have any questions?
Mr. Byrne? Mrs. Sparta? Mrs. Gray? Sam? Yes. Mrs. White?
Yes.
Mrs. Wood? Mrs. Ford? Mrs. Wood?
Yes.
The Finance Committee has not met since the last time we did a committee report. We'll meet next week. So personnel? Curriculum.
Curriculum meeting that was supposed to be last week had been canceled because of the weather. It's been rescheduled for Monday.
And I skipped policy.
Sorry, but today. So,
I remember, it does snow it out. Okay, liaison reports? Linda?
the Municipal Alliance actually was able to happen on Tuesday, the only Sunday. So I can actually. At the meeting, the Municipal Alliance approved a resolution on the stigma-free initiative, which will now be presented to the township board. Robin Ulmer from United Way of Jordan, New Jersey, did a presentation on the school culture and climate initiative currently underway at Mount Pleasant School. The Virtual announced that the student stressor survey for grades 6, 8, 10, and 12 from Dr. Harlow and tabulated data as of last year. And the survey was last done in our district in 2012. The Mental Health Resources Fair is scheduled for March 22nd at the Burns Township Library. And the grad group will present a team talk on January 11th at 7 p.m. in the Ridge Cafeteria. Topics will be academic stress, vaping, anxiety and depression, social media, and individual. And I wanted to point out this whole presentation will be run by the students, and they chose the topic.
Does anyone have any questions? I actually have a question about the student stressor survey. I don't know if it's the Municipal Alliance meeting about adding any questions.
No, we need to talk about that.
I can share that I did talk to Caitlin a little bit about adding questions. She said she was going to talk to Dr. Carlo about it.
Up to the SEL committee. SEL committee on February 22nd. They were talking about the possibility of taking this day over this Cambridge High School. We discussed some recent proposals about this topic. So, can we discuss the questions and concerns how it actually particulars about where we're going to be in the states. Personally, after some discussion, there was some brainstorming, the idea of a challenge day coming out, the concept of the programming center, fiction, or something incorporated in the midst of that conversation, she was reminded of a lot about Monday, March 19th, at 7 p.m. on Ridge High School Park is a program on mindfulness and technology. At that time, Mr. Krause suggested we have contact some of the schools who are employing this to see how they're sort of meeting with the guidance schools out there. Probably we also discussed the student stressor survey. Also, it's the 18 and 12 grades survey. In the past, it's sponsored by the teacher. This year, I think you can see that. are difficult for students who are involved in athletics. Unfortunately, again, there's no solution to this that's easy because each basically plays conferences where each of the opposing teams will have different break times. So it could be very difficult to not have a standstill of competition to where it's also a question of these for play. The words are the technique can have very, very long hours. So Mr. McKinnon suggested that the answer questions to the students stressor survey, because that's what the students got their stress Mr. Scott joined us for this meeting, and she shared that it was crunch times for some activities that technical teachers tend to feel students through some of their contributions. Mr. Curtis suggested that student activities page that was recently updated also be updated to include approximate time limits for different activities on the pages. Committee will discuss this topic as well as survey results. And then next meeting, we will next week, March 26th. Is there any other questions? Mrs. Gray? Okay, we're now up to public comment on non-agenda items.
I just wanted to say that I think maybe I asked a question about that. Mrs. McKeon directed me to the NJSBA School Task Force, which was from October 2014. I'm talking about the big legislative document. And that was where I found this other thing from 2011 underneath there of ongoing planning. So I read this to me, it clearly says, the document emphasizes the need for ongoing planning in concert with public safety and emergency planning. So, keep repeating it off, it sounds like there should be a district level planning plan that includes parents on an ongoing basis. The 2011 document being referred in the 2014 report. I just wanted to clarify that. That's all. Thank you.
Ask for public comment? Okay, this is going to close public comment.
So I'm familiar with the New Jersey School Boards Association School Security Task Force. I'll take a look at it and see what that's about.
Now we're up to board forum. We have one item listed here. This is a follow-up discussion. Something that when we were having some board training, our county school boards representative presented some information to the Board of Education about a strategic planning process that school boards helps discuss. And so we're just going to have a follow-up conversation to see what the reaction to that information is. Kind of look through the documents that she gave us, something about it. So I don't know if anybody wants to jump in. Are people interested in it? She could come back and talk to her again. Yeah, so she presented, I guess, she had a brochure about the process where you, where you have a vision planning, strategic planning process, that all the stakeholders.
Just want to say that I support the idea. I found that some people are interested in to engage all the stakeholders in these discussions. And it was very clear from the way we went started
know that we have looked at doing more comprehensive plan we have, like this is for which seems like so it seems like I yeah, I thought it was
I like the idea. I think it would be good to get input from the staff and the public and stakeholders in the community about where we want to, focus our energy. There's so much going on in the last years that are involved in the district. There's so much stuff from the state and things. I think it's very positive. We have a wonderful district and we want to move forward. I like the idea of the process. So should we look into reaching out to them and let them know that we're interested I think that we were asking Nick and probably other staff to do some preliminary work because I think it starts off with them presenting the district information to everyone. So we're asking, groundwork ahead of time. But I don't think that she comes to all of us yet. That's my understanding. Okay. That's fine. Go ahead.
I don't know if anyone had the pleasure of watching Bridge Girls 4x8 track win the indoor national championship Saturday by a lot. They won the Armory and Air Bomb. They were number one number. I think I could put on my impression. They were educated to soccer. Well, they were ranked, I think they were 13th. They were getting like received special grades. They were received, I think they received 13th, hard to get. I watched it live stream it, and it was so exciting to watch the kids. Really exciting, and it's such a great job of the girls. It's so impressive. So I just want to say, you can still look at it when you watch this. And it was just,
So I guess we're up to the